Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Xenia. I am a film and visual artist here in Philadelphia. I make movies as well as different types of visual art that I incorporate into my film work. Um, yeah. So when I was thinking about the theme of acceptance, I was thinking about like what is the most impactful and important moment of acceptance in my life. And when I thought about that, I immediately thought about my mom. This is me and my mom. I'm about 2 years old here. Um, Even though I've only been on the planet for about 2 years at this point, somehow I know that whatever she's pissed off at, I'm supposed to be pissed off at it too. Because our faces match, they're eerily very similar. Um, but yeah, I take a lot of cues from my mom. I've learned so much from her over the years, and we are very similar people, but the way that we are sort of manifested in two different career paths. My mom is a mechanical engineer, so very much like a STEM, like I forget which side of the brain it is, but the one that's like analytical and logical, like that side of the brain. She's very that. And I am a lot more, like, like I very much am an artist. And there's a lot of artistry in what she does as well, but it's just sort of manifested differently in our lives. But even though we are sort of very different people, um, looking outside, as I grow into the person that I am, I realize so much of her that has made its way into who I am. And today I wanted to talk about something that she taught me, maybe indirectly, but like I came to this by watching her, and that is sort of the acceptance and the navigating of the unknown. She has this deep, unwavering sense of peace about her that I always questioned. I was always like, how are you so certain that things are going to work out? I have three brothers, and my mom's a single mom. She raised three unruly boys and an artist all by herself. So that couldn't have been easy. And even when I would watch her as a kid and I would see that she was stressed, she would never worry. She would never spend her time worrying that things were going to be like, she would never spend her time worrying that things weren't going to turn out well for us. Like, and I never understood how she could have that sense about her. But I realized through the years that that sense that she has about life was always present in my art. And I sort of had to see her and watch her to see those things inside of myself. So I think that when I think about the nebulous space that is the unknown, I think about surprises, like gotcha, like things that sort of knock you off your balance, not the fun surprises that like happen on your birthday, like surprises that sort of shake you and make you feel uncertain about the paths that you've chosen or the things that you have decided to do with your life. So, okay, so I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, so to get through these, or not so much get through, but to navigate these sort of moments of being shaken by these uncertain, sort of chaotic forces around us, I always try to tell myself to be open to everything that your work can become. So redirecting my attention away from, oh, there's so many things that can happen that I can't control, into a place of, there's so many things that I can't control and I can't wait to find out what they are. There are moments when I'm working, especially in film, there's like this very storied process of going through development and then going into pre-production, production, and then post-production, where you sort of develop your story and work out all the details, and then that's set. And then you go into pre-production and you hire all the people to do all the things that you need them to do. And then you go into production where you actually shoot the footage. And then post-production, which is where you make your footage into something that is a film. So this was from a film that I never released. I made this in school, and I made it with that process that I just detailed, like figuring out like what I wanted to make the film about, and then I shot it, and then I edited it, and then I was done with it. And to me, this film turned out to be kind of trash. It was like it was really pretty, like the images were really pretty, but I wasn't paying attention to what about this film excited me. I was trying to like just sort of fit these really beautiful images into like some profound narrative that I hadn't like done enough work on. Like I hadn't done enough grounding work to actually figure out what that profound narrative was gonna be. I wanted to make this like sci-fi like comment on, I don't know if you guys like heard of the concept of like Instagram face, of like digitally and like physically editing your like face and body to like adhere to the beauty standard and sort of look like sort of like a clone of all the other influencers that you see. It's like, it was like a very, I was very passionate about it because like as a zillennial, I don't know. I'm like on the edge of Z and millennial, I don't know. But like I grew up on Instagram, and like that was very much like you have to look like this. And it's sort of like in our hands, we had these devices to sort of like Facetune our faces. Like, whereas I feel like growing up in another time, you sort of aspired to look like this, but like you could digitally edit yourself to look like you were a clone of all these other girls. So I was just like ideating all of that in my head. And I was like, oh, like what if there was like this training program that, like I said, the concept like wasn't like very well developed, but I had sort of like followed this process that I thought I was supposed to follow, and every moment of spontaneity that came up in the process, I denied it. And like I had all these pretty images, and I had like this like interesting nugget of a concept, but I wasn't able to follow through because I was closed off from any surprises, from anything that I found in the film that interested me but didn't necessarily go with the theme that I was trying to convey. I just sort of, I was like, oh no, I'll deal with that later, or that doesn't fit, so I'm not gonna put it in. And it turned out to be a trash film, and that's cool. We all make mistakes. But I sort of pivoted to another process, like it says, oh shit. Like it says in this one, I had to be open to everything that it could become. Like my work is gonna tell me what it wants to be, when it wants to be it, and I just have to be listening, and I have to be watching to see what it is the work is gonna become, because the concept can change so much from ideation, from when you shoot it to when you put it together and edit it. So I had to be open in all of those processes to see what my work was going to become. So another thing that I think about when I think of the unknown is I think about worry. I mentioned that my mom is not a worrier. She may be stressed out, like physically sometimes or like mentally, but she doesn't put her energy into worrying. And I feel like worrying is this active process of, maybe it's different for different people, but maybe overthinking, maybe overanalyzing. But ultimately, like, worry, as I see it, never really results in anything. It never really results in anything productive or positive. So I try to eliminate worry from my process as well. I never worry about where money is going to come from, where opportunity is going to come from. I can't worry about who can work on my projects. I can't worry about any of those things because I know that will come. So there is a way, even if you can't see it. And it's also not your job to find it either. It's not your job to seek it out. It's not your job to do all these calculations in your head to make it, to will something into existence. You just have to be open for when it comes to you, because those things, for me, they always come to me. I will say this is a film, it's called A Few Things I'm Beginning to Understand. This is a film that I made at the end of school, and I made it in the most untraditional process. And at the beginning of this film, I was worried about a lot of things. I was worried about if the story was going to say everything that I needed it to say. I was worried about if people were going to get it or understand it. I was worried about so many things. And I was also like scripting something, writing something that felt insincere. It felt contrived. At this point, I had never like written a script, just like a pure, just like screenplay. And I was trying to do that because I felt like that's what I had to do. But in the end, I just ended up making a bunch of things that brought me joy. And I really followed that sense of what made me happy about making my art. So in this film, it's like a hybrid experimental documentary narrative film about me and the person that I loved at this time. He was my partner, and he had gotten arrested in at Rittenhouse Square. Like, he pulled up to the park, and he was like dancing, he was like playing his music, and the cops started antagonizing him, like trying to take his bike. And then like a full paddy wagon of cops like pulled up to the park and like tackled him. There was like videos of it circulating around like our personal circle on Instagram. And this was also in 2020, and I had been just sitting with all of these feelings of just like feelings of disillusionment, like in our society in America, just seeing the way that all of the different ways that anti-Blackness had permeated my life and permeated someone that I loved so much. And I was like just grappling with all of these feelings, and I wanted to make a project about it. I was interviewing my boyfriend at the time. I was sort of like reenacting these scenes of violence that were really traumatic for me to go back and relive. And I just sort of had to rethink what this project was going to be in order to save myself and to save my emotional well-being. And I just started like inserting all of these like bright, colorful, fun visuals into this conversation. So it's a conversation between, you see on the left, the top left, it's between Xenia, me. It's between Z and Pearl. And Pearl is sort of like this higher version of herself. And she just talks to her like you would talk to a good friend about everything that's happening in her life. And you sort of see these vignettes go in and out. Like there's like a little game show segment, there's like a little musical number, and there's like all these different types of segments that go in and out that sort of represent your just like how the mind works, like how it can be one place, one moment, and then a second later, it can be something entirely different. So, and I came to this, like, this film could have only happened if it sounds weird, but if I didn't have a plan for it. Because I was making all of these things, like, I painted the mask, I, like, painted a whole backdrop of this like Pearl character, and I put it behind me and I pretended like I was in a talk show. Like it was like all of these weird things, and I was just making all of these things, just generating all of this footage and all of this art. And then I just put it all together as I was shooting. So I would shoot, and then I would edit, and then I would write a song, and then I would go back to editing, and then I would shoot something else to go with the song, and then I would edit it again, and then I would paint something, and then I would edit, and then I would paint something else, and I'd be like, oh, I don't really like that. I'm gonna replace that with this. Like, it was very non-linear. It was very just like seeing what I liked, throwing away what I didn't, but saving it for later if I thought it process potentially go somewhere else. Just like a very back and forth process of following what I love about my art and really feeling the film and feeling, just knowing when it feels right. And then when it was right, I could move on from that scene. But I wasn't gonna completely move on if I felt later that I had to go back to it. So it was very back and forth. And that brings me to another thing that can sort of get in my way, which is time. I find myself like timing my accomplishments, like really feeling like, oh, I'm 20 now, like I should be able to do this, or I'm 25, or I'm gonna be 30 next year, like I should be here, or I should have accomplished this, or whatever it is. And I found myself just needing, and I mean like really needing, to be present, to be right here, right now, accept what is here. I'm here, and accept that the things that aren't here will come, or they might never come. And that's cool too. But it's okay that those things aren't here, and it's okay that I might never see them. It's okay that I just have to tell myself, it's okay, I'm here, everything is gonna be all right. And it was like a daily exercise. I tell all my friends this, but I call it like my lesson of 2022. But just to be present was just like something daily that I had to just go through and affirm myself every morning. I have to be like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. Whatever project I was working on, or even if I wasn't working on a project, like I had to affirm myself, like, okay, I'm not working as much as I would like to on my creative projects right now, but I'm still here. I'm still an artist. I still am worth something, even if I'm not posting on Instagram every day, or even if I haven't gotten in everything that I needed to get into my producer, or whatever it was. I had to just affirm myself and be like, I'm okay. I'm here. Everything is gonna be fine. So I want to show an example of the project that really taught me the most about everything that I'm talking about here is a film that I made last year called Eureka. That's the film that got into Sundance. That's the film that I got a bunch of money to make, and it was a wonderful process, just working with a lot of my friends and working with new people that are now really good friends of mine. I never would have gotten this opportunity if I wasn't just open, if I wasn't just focused on being myself and living my life and sort of trying to eliminate worry from the picture. I wasn't chasing this opportunity. This opportunity came very spontaneously. I had moved to Texas after my graduation. I graduated from UArts in 2021. And I moved to Texas and I was like, there's nothing for me here. Oh, I moved to Texas because that's where my mom was. But I was like, there's nothing for me here. Like, I don't know where I'm at. It's hot. It's dry. My skin is cracking. It was a lot. I was, I was like very stressed and I was very worried. And I was like very focused on like, oh, how do I get back to Philly? How do I get back to Philly? But I found this opportunity in Texas called Pegasus Media Project. And it was sort of like an apprenticeship for film and media, which was something like education-wise that I didn't need, but I did need to meet people in Texas and see that my life wasn't as bad, or not as bad, but like that I could be creative there instead of longing to be somewhere else. Like I needed that. I needed that opportunity. So I was in Texas and I met a lot of really wonderful people. And one of their names was Christian Vasquez. And he helped me develop this idea to submit to a grant. And in the middle of developing this idea, one of my friends and mentors emailed me, just a very quick, short email. She emailed me a link and she was like, you should apply to this. I know you're in Texas and I know it's a Philly opportunity, but if you get in, I'll like help you look for housing and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I was like developing this idea and I submitted it to the Austin Film Society grant. That is like a big short film grant in Texas. I didn't get it, but I submitted it to the opportunity that Shatara, my mentor, had emailed me. And it was an opportunity with Black Star. They run a film festival here in Philadelphia, and it's a really good festival. And they were just doing this opportunity where they were fully funding and producing 4 films from Philadelphia filmmakers. And I submitted this idea and I got in, and I got it, and I came to my mom and I was like, Mom, like I got this opportunity, but I don't even know if I can make the move back up to Philly. Like I don't think I have enough money saved up. And I told her and she made me a calendar. She was like, I know you think that this film is too big to make in the timeline that they laid out for you, but I'm going to lay out a timeline for you right here, right now to let you know that you can do it. And just so much came together and I didn't know how it was going to come together. I just had to trust that it was going to. And it did. We made a beautiful film. The person that I met in Texas, Christian, he was actually moving up to New Jersey the same time I was moving up to Philly, and he actually shot the film. And like all of these beautiful images, like this is his work, this is our work, and everything just worked out so beautifully. And when I was like freshly graduated in Texas, I graduated during a pandemic year, so it was on YouTube Live. It was very uneventful. But when I was there, like I didn't know how I was going to make my next project. I didn't know that this was going to be my next project, but I was very open to all of those things coming to me, and I just followed all of those things. Even like one of my former professors, like he wanted me to make this project so bad that he himself like gave me money to help move me back up to Philly. So there was so much that just came together that I never I never could have put all that together myself. I never could have made a plan to do this. And yeah, this film brought me to Sundance. This film was written about in Filmmaker magazine. It got me noticed. Yeah, it brought me to a lot of places, including, yeah, some exciting places coming up that I can't talk about yet. But yeah, this last slide is just some of my favorite images from my work. One of them is from a film called Good Blood, that like top left one, and it's just like this, like these color aberrations that I find so beautiful in the way that they move in the film. One is from Eureka, the film I was just talking about. One is from like a little video project I did with my brothers while I was in Texas. Like one of my brothers held the camera and I just like filmed a bunch of pretty stuff that I thought was beautiful. And one of them is from a film called Stroke that I did in school. And I wanted to end on this slide, or this is like penultimate slide, but I wanted to end on this slide because these are just things that I love. And I always want to follow like the things that I love about my work, I need to follow them. All of the things that make me happy about my work, I just need to follow that. Like, I don't need to stress about what it's going to be in the end because I know I can make something. Like, I'm an editor, like, I shoot a lot of my stuff. I know I can make something out of what I shoot. I just need to make sure that I do the grounding work to know what I want to say and then make the images that make me happy, basically. Like, no one is going to tell me that my work needs to be a certain way to get opportunities or do whatever, because at the end of the day, I want to make the work that represents me. And in order to do that, I need to be extremely present and know what those things are. So to loop it back to my mom, like I said, my mom has been hugely influential in my life. And the first film festival that I got into, I went on a road trip with my mom to go to it. And she went to all the filmmaker events with me. And it was super fun. And she's always been very supportive. And she's always made sure to let me know that I know. Like the same way that she knows whatever power she has deep inside of her, that I have it too. And I definitely like had to grow into it and see that for myself. But she always makes sure to tell me that I know what I need more than anyone does. So yeah, that's my presentation. It's the last slide. So yeah.